Hey, it's Clever Motors Movement Camp. We got this 05 Honda Accord sitting pretty. We doing the engine mount bracket replacement on here as well as the return line on the power steering. We're going to get that to another time. But this is your engine mount right here. And I'm going to show you step by step on how I went and took this out. So the first thing I did, of course, was unplug the negative cable. After unplugging the negative cable, I lifted up the car, put the jack stands on, safety first. After that, I went and took the tire off, which is 5 19mm lugs. On this case, it was only 4 since they have a broken stud. All right, so since I knew we was going for the mount, I lifted up the engine a little bit. I used a sledgehammer because I didn't have a piece of wood. That's okay. But you just lift it up just at least one pump. Use it. I was able to take off the mount, which is that mount right there, being held in by 2 17mm bolts. Also a 17mm bolt, which is this one, attaching it to the top of this mount. You're gonna want to take that out. Then you got 2 bolts here, 14mm. This is the reason we're changing this one, because there's a broken bolt in here. So it's a 14mm. You want to pop that out. The next thing this camera was a little blurry. The next thing I did was I took off the tensioner, the serpentine belt, which is this tensioner. It's a 14mm bolt. This one right here. Release the tension, take off the belt, then holding that whole gadget in place, you have a 12mm nut right here, and loosen this 14mm bolt as well. The tension is going to drop down. I took it out from the bottom. After you remove that, then you're going to want to remove the power steering pump out the way. There's a 12mm bolt mounting it right here and another one down here. You'll be able to access it with the pulley in the way and all that. Don't worry about having to remove the pulley. Once you remove those 2 12mm bolts, the pump will come out. After you remove the pump, you're going to want to take off the top half of the timing cover. There's 2 sides, one here and one here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm bolts holding the top half of the timing cover in on both sides. All right, you're going to want to remove those. On this timing cover, you got this wire that sits in place right in here. So pop that out the way before you try popping that out. After that, there's 3 14mm bolts holding this mountain. One right here in the inside, one goes here, and one goes underneath in that hole right there. All right, as you can see, she's loose. We're getting the bottom cover off to get her out all the way. Then you're going to want to come down here with that special tool from Honda to take off this crankshaft pulley. It's a 19mm bolt that sits right in the middle. Okay. Once you put the tool right here, then you'll be able to get it. I'll use the breaker bar to break this bolt loose, and I was able to get that bolt out. Now we're working on getting this crankshaft pulley off and gonna finish removing the last 10mm bolts that's around the bottom half of the timing cover. Let's get to it. All right. So we got this crankshaft pulley off. We used our handy dandy crankshaft pulley remover tool. Put that breaker bar with a 19mm socket on it. Was able to remove that bolt. All right, we got the timing cover off. We finally got the mount out. That's the old one. That's the new one. Old, new. And that's what she looks like. Let's look at her from the side. So now after removing the whole timing cover, the top 2 portions and the bottom portion, taking out the crankshaft pulley and removing the old mount, we got the new mount back in, and we just reversed everything that we did. We took everything that we took off. You got 5 10mm bolts on each cover. You got 5 on the bottom half as well. You got that 19mm bolt holding that crankshaft pulley in. You're gonna need the Honda tool to hold the crankshaft pulley from spinning. Then you got your tensioner, which is a 14mm nut right here, and another 12mm bolt on the bottom. Let me show you from the bottom. This 12mm right here. Remove that and remove this 14mm here to get that whole tensioner assembly out. Is going to come with the idler pulley and the tensioner pulley. It's going to come out as one assembly. All right. Once you got all that back on, then we put the mounts back in. These are 2 14mm bolts, as I said before, 2 17mm bolts here, and a 17mm bolt through this top half portion of the mount. All right, after that, we're going to put the power steering pump back on. Right now, we about to do the line down there, but we're going to put the power steering pump back on. Then we're going to crank her up. We're going to have to bleed the power steering system. You got power steering fluid? We're going to bleed the power steering system. That's simple. When you bleed in the power steering system on any vehicle, you fill up the reservoir, you turn the tire all the way to the right, all the way to the left until you don't hear no sounds no more. You go check the reservoir and you top off the reservoir as needed, all right? Again, this is Clever Mo's Mobile Mechanic. This is a 2005 Honda Accord with a 3.0 engine. Get with it.